Let me tell you something that most people don't want to admit. There's a version of you, and you know exactly who I'm talking about, that's been sabotaging your progress for years. It's the version that hides when things get hard, the version that lies to itself, the one that says, asterisk, I'll do it tomorrow, asterisk, but never does. And until you acknowledge that part of yourself, you will never overcome it. This isn't just about productivity or motivation. This is psychological warfare within your own soul. Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That weak version is living in your blind spots. You've normalized mediocrity. You've made a habit out of hiding. But you cannot transform what you refuse to confront. Look yourself in the mirror, really look and say, asterisk, that's the part of me I'm going to kill. Asterisk, you don't need external permission. You need internal truth. Because the moment you admit that weakness is in you, that's the same moment you reclaim the power to destroy it. You cannot defeat what you deny, so step one is simple, asterisk, asterisk, face it, name it, and be ready to bury it. Asterisk, asterisk, you want to know why that weak version of you keeps showing up. It's because you've built a lifestyle that invites it in. Weakness isn't just emotional, it's habitual. It's embedded in the small, seemingly harmless decisions you make every day. Hitting snooze 3 times, scrolling instead of reading, choosing distraction over discomfort. These aren't neutral acts, they're rituals of self-sabotage. You've trained your body and mind to expect ease, to avoid challenge, and in doing so, you've become complicit in your own limitation. Philosophically, this speaks to the idea of the divided self, the conflict between who you are and who you could be. And the gap between the two is filled by habit. If your routines are designed to serve the path of least resistance, don't be surprised when you end up with a life of quiet frustration. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. If your system is built on avoidance, that's the version of you that wins. Start identifying the patterns, audit your life, ask asterisk, does this action serve strength or comfort? Asterisk, because every habit is a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. Kill the pattern, and the weak version dies with it. If you're serious about killing that weak version of yourself, there's only one weapon powerful enough to get the job done: discipline. Not motivation, not hype, not fleeting inspiration, discipline. Discipline is brutal, it's repetitive, it's thankless. But it's also transformative. It's the act of saying, asterisk, I do what's necessary, not what's comfortable. Asterisk, and this isn't some romanticized grind culture nonsense. It's a psychological restructuring of who you are. Every time you wake up early when you don't feel like it, every time you work through boredom or pain, you're sending a message to your subconscious. Asterisk, the old version of me doesn't live here anymore. Asterisk, discipline is how the internal war is won. It's how you override the limbic system, the part of your brain that craves ease and pleasure, and bring it under the control of your higher self. You are not just fighting laziness. You're fighting biology, conditioning, even trauma. And yet, if you remain consistent, those old scripts begin to die. Slowly, quietly, but permanently, you want to kill that weak version, then bleed for something greater every single day. Because in the battlefield of identity, discipline is the executioner. If you want to kill the weak version of yourself, you can't just remove old behaviors, you need to replace them with a compelling future. You need a vision so intense, so meaningful, that it demands a stronger version of you to even attempt it. Weakness survives in vague intentions. It thrives where there's no structure, no aim, no higher goal. But when you build a vision that is concrete and transformative, the weak parts of you begin to suffocate. Why? Because they can't survive in the environment required to reach greatness. This is deeply psychological. Your identity follows your aim. If your life lacks vision, your mind has no reason to change. There's no compelling why to fight the urges to get out of bed, to stay disciplined. But create a future that excites you, one that scares you just enough, and suddenly discipline becomes necessity, not torture. You're not just avoiding weakness anymore, you're pursuing purpose. And purpose reorders everything. Don't just try to escape the old you. Design a life where the old you wouldn't last a day. Because when your vision becomes non-negotiable, mediocrity becomes impossible. If you're serious about transformation, you need to understand this. The people around you are either reinforcing the weak version of you or helping you evolve. There is no neutral ground. Human beings are deeply social creatures. We unconsciously mirror the standards, language, and behaviors of those closest to us. So if you spend your time with people who normalize laziness, make excuses, and settle for less, guess what? You will too. Not because you're weak by nature, but because your environment is silently training you to stay small. Philosophers have long argued that identity is not formed in isolation. It's forged in community. And if you want to build a new identity, one rooted in strength, discipline, and vision, you need to get around people who live that out. Not people who flatter you, but people who challenge you, who make you uncomfortable with their standard, who call you out not because they dislike you, but because they refuse to let you lie to yourself. The truth is, you can't kill the weak version of yourself if you're surrounded by people who keep it alive. So change your circle or stay the same. The choice is always yours. The weak version of you is terrified of pain, and that's exactly why it still controls so much of your life. But here's the paradox. The very pain you've been avoiding is the path to your transformation. Growth isn't found in comfort. It's found in discomfort willingly endured. The struggle, the resistance, the sacrifice, that's not a sign that something's wrong. That's the signal that something inside you is waking up. Pain is not your enemy, it's your instructor. It reveals what still needs to be healed, what needs to be developed, and what needs to be destroyed. Psychologically, this is the process of integration, learning to carry the burden instead of running from it. When you voluntarily face suffering, you develop character, resilience, and inner power. You gain the capacity to endure what the weak version of you could never handle. And slowly, something stronger emerges, not because the pain goes away, but because you become the kind of person who can withstand it. So stop seeing pain as punishment. Start seeing it as preparation. You were never meant to avoid the fire, you were built to walk through it. Because only what's forged in fire can't be broken.